Now, once he took the stage at the Crosse Center, Trump fielded a handful of questions during the roughly 34-minute town hall session hosted by former Democratic presidential hopeful turned independent Tulsi Gabbard. She began the questioning by sharing her own difficult experience with in vitro fertilization to try to start a family. In his response to that, Trump introduced a new policy proposal
for IVF, and I've been looking at it, and what we're going to do is for people that are using IVF, which is fertilization, the government is going to pay for it, or we're going to get or mandate your insurance company to pay for it, which is going to be great. We're going to do that.
Reproductive care also became a point of criticism. The former president lobbed at the Democratic nominee for vice president, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. After first using Walz's own word for Trump and J.D. Vance against the Minnesota governor, calling him, quote, weird, the former president then painted Walz as an abortion extremist.
And I'd love to win Minnesota because those people aren't digging this guy. They're not digging this guy. But think of this. 6 states, Minnesota's one of them. If the baby is born, you're allowed to execute the baby after, think of that, after birth in Minnesota, you're allowed to execute.
Now, Minnesota state statute explicitly states, quote, an infant born alive shall be fully recognized as a human person and accorded immediate protection under law, end quote. Trump's remark deals with the 2023 law signed by Governor Walz that changes a state statute dating back to 1976, which says that if a child is born alive following an abortion after the 20th week, a doctor will take all reasonable measures, quote, to preserve the life and health of any live birth. Now, the 2023 change signed by Walz removes the phrase beginning with preserves and replaces it with, quote, care for the infant who is born alive. Pro-life advocates have suggested that change means life-saving measures would no longer be taken, but supporters of the change say that's not the case, arguing the idea of comfort care only applies when a fetal condition is ultimately fatal.